After the release of Turok Dinosaur Hunter on the Nintendo 64, a sequel was inevitable. And just 2 years later, Acclaim produced Turok 2: Seeds of Evil. This was an ambitious title, and while it may have been overshadowed by The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, released 1 month earlier, it remains an impressive game, despite a few flaws. As was the case with our previous video, we'll be playing Night Dive's Remaster, as opposed to the original cartridge. Moving with the C buttons and aiming with an inverted stick once seemed perfectly acceptable to me, but now it's almost impossible to go back. Just look at this footage I captured. Turok is moving around like a drunken sailor. Hey you, stay still so I can show ya. Anyway, aside from controls, this version has a lot of the same strengths as Night Dive's remaster of Turok Dinosaur Hunter. The only other things to mention are the original version's choppy frame rate, which has been replaced with silky smooth animation here, and the addition of waypoint markers to help with some of the game's more cryptic sections. When comparing the two games, I think Turok 2 is definitely a massive step forward from a presentation standpoint, but in terms of gameplay it's more of a sidestep. Whether you enjoy this one over the original really comes down to personal preference. As I said, I think it's a pretty great game, and the things I complain about, especially in terms of the remaster, might not bother you at all. Right off the bat, Turok 2 separates itself from the original by opening with a cutscene and actually bothering to establish a plot. Joshua Fireseed, the newest hero to take on the mantle of Turok, finds himself in the company of Adon, the Speaker of Forever Light. She explains in a muffled British accent the critical need to defeat an ancient alien known as the Primogen. There's a lot of interesting lore to go along with this, dealing with the creation of the Lost Land and an even greater threat lurking in the shadows, but it really just serves to give a bit of context to the environments and enemies. The story develops in fits and spurts as you go, while mostly remaining separate from the main action. And hey, with gameplay this good, that's fine by me. Variety remains Turok's biggest strength. Along your journey, you'll face off against dinosaurs, both humanoid and not, the ape-like purlins, a hive of intelligent insects, creepy blind trolls, courtesy of Twitter, and of course the undead. Can't do without those. The animations are even better than the original game. The dinosaurs in particular convey a lot of character in their movements, both as they traverse the environment and react to damage. In Turok 2 you can blow off limbs, stick them with arrows, which you can collect from their dead bodies, and unlike the first game, enemies go down faster if you aim for their head. A green dinosaur, for instance, can take clip after clip in the arms, but one shot to the face, and he's down. And the gratuitous gore never fails to add a satisfying spray or splurt to drive home the fact that Turok is a ruthless and efficient killer. Seriously, you feel like a real badass tearing through these guys. And since they're keeping lost children hostage and poisoning a major city's water supply, you can rest easy knowing that's all justified. As for Turok's tools of destruction, the arsenal in this game is absolutely legendary. There's the quad rocket launcher, the firestorm cannon, the pulse rifle, the shredder, and even a throwable saw blade. And again, thanks to the extremely graphic violence, even less exciting weapons like the pistol and shotgun are a ton of fun to use. And while its reputation may precede it, it would be a crime to talk about Turok 2's weapons and not mention the cerebral bore. If there's anything anyone remembers from this game, this is it. Often considered one of the best guns in any first-person shooter, the cerebral bore does exactly what you think. It shoots a homing projectile that seeks out enemies and drills into their head, dispatching them in the most brutal way possible. Remember, they're bad guys and they deserve this. Probably. Also, just like in the first game, there's a super weapon to construct. This time it's the nuke, which seems a little bland compared to the Chronoceptor, and doesn't make as much of a splash when you finally use it against the last boss. Maybe because unlike its predecessor, it's not an instant win button. Anyway, I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about collectibles and exploration. Turok 2 features just 6 levels, and only one of them is as confusing as the first game's Catacombs stage. But levels 4 and 5 are far, far worse. The Lair of the Blind Ones and the Hive of the Mantids are two of the most sprawling and frustrating stages I have ever played. They're riddled with portals, branching paths, tricky platforming, and crisscrossing, overlapping tunnels, many of which look almost identical. And these places are both absolutely ginormous in scope. Honestly, I'll never understand gamers' obsession with bigger and bigger worlds. After a while, you start to reach a point of diminishing returns, trading economic and effective level design for, well, the Lair of the Blind Ones. What makes matters worse is that the game doesn't only maintain Turok Dinosaur Hunter's key and weapon piece hunt, it doubles down on these ideas by introducing sub-objectives in each stage, such as activating distress beacons, defeating witches, or defending energy totems. If you reach an end portal without completing all of these tasks, which is almost certainly going to happen, you're sent right back to the beginning. And if that wasn't enough, there's even a light Metroid element that involves collectible feathers that grant new abilities. So, while you're playing through a level, you might notice a jump you can't make or poison water you can't swim in. These are places you have to commit to memory and return to when you acquire the appropriate ability. Again, I don't mind hidden secrets and rewarding exploration, but aside from the nuke pieces, every single feather, objective, and ability is 100% necessary to complete the game. So maybe now you understand what I was talking about earlier. If you like a good scavenger hunt and don't mind maze-like environments, these complaints might seem like strengths. If I'm being truthful, the levels are still very well designed from an objective standpoint. I just think the emphasis on collectibles really conflicts with the more action-oriented shooting aspect. I said the same thing about the first game, but it's annoying that you can never just run and gun without stopping to check the map or doubling back to investigate the other 3 branching paths you didn't take. There's definitely a sense of accomplishment gleamed from filling out your inventory and slowly opening up more of the hub area, but personally, I think the developers went a bit too far. To help illustrate my point, just take a look at this section early in the second level. Here you hop aboard a Styracosaurus armed with rocket launchers and take out turrets and barricades while grunts flee in terror. This set piece is so fun that it's a shame the game doesn't dabble with this kind of thing more often. The only other times it reaches the same highs are against the various boss enemies, which match the standards set by the first game and sometimes even exceed it. The boss of the Primogen's lightship, simply called the Mother, is especially cool. I like the realistic look of her skin, and as you blow off her limbs, she grows new ones, drastically changing her style of attack in the process. This is pretty ambitious given when the game was made. In fact, it's still pretty impressive today. In terms of music, Turok 2 is another winner. I don't know if the tracks are as instantly memorable as the first game, but they're definitely great while you're playing, adding a sense of urgency to the proceedings, even if you're just wandering in circles looking for a key. My favorite track is probably the one that plays when you're in these factory areas fighting the flesh eaters. It's very cool. In general, the focus of the music has switched a little. It's less bombastic and generally creates more of a haunting atmosphere, which is something this game excels at. Each of the environments is very distinct, and some are downright jaw-dropping. The first level, in particular, has a lot of really pretty locations. It combines minimalist, almost Roman architecture with waterways, wooden ships, and massive ornate statues. Overall, I think I still prefer the first Turok game, but I can understand completely why someone might think the second is better. It is an obvious improvement in many ways. I'm just not big on the decision to double down on collectibles and mazes. Certain levels are designed in such a way that almost seems malicious, which might not make for a fun experience. Anyway, take that as you will, and Even if you're like me and you don't particularly like scavenger hunts in your first-person shooters, I'd give it a go anyway, if for no other reason than to try the cerebral bore. Trust me, it'll blow your mind. Like literally.
Hey, over here! Hey, over here! I'm free, thank you. I'm free, thank you.